Okay, I have a 2002 Nissan Frontier 4x4 3.3 liter V6 supercharged engine, and I have knock sensor code. And it's been on for a while. I just haven't have time to do it, and I do not recommend you to do it if you're not mechanically inclined, if you're not mechanic. This video is just to help the mechanic on taking out the supercharged, the lower intake platinum to get to the knock sensor, because the knock sensor is, hold on, grab my flashlight, it's right there. That's what it is. It's mounted on the engine block, and you have to take all this stuff off to get to it. So the first thing that I did was I took off the air box. Totally take it off. Took the filter off so I don't damage it. And I'm going to show you the parts that go to the supercharger. Okay, here you got the supercharger. Then you got the intake that connect to the supercharger. Then you got the I guess the supercharged bracket, I guess that's what you call it, because the supercharge sits on top of it, because you have to take the bolts out. See all this bolts hole? Take all those bolts out and supercharger will come off. And this plate goes right here on top of the lower platinum, and this right here is the injector rail or the fuel rail, and you got the injectors that goes in it. And I have the throttle body, goes right there. You basically have to disassemble all this stuff up so you can get room to work on it. And if you're not mechanically inclined, or you don't understand how all the parts goes, I don't recommend you do it, because there's so much parts that you have to take off, so much bolts. And when you take the bolts out, just screw it back in the hole if you can, like I did right there, so that way when you put it back together, you know which bolt is which. But the supercharged sits on top of this, and they have a gasket that goes over here. I'm gonna have to call Nissan and see if they have a gasket for it. And then you have the lower platinum right here. I taped it up so that way nothing fall into the hole when I'm working on it, and I suggest that you do that. And make sure you have a drain pan to catch the coolant that come out, because you have to disconnect this right here from the coolant pipe, and then in the back too, right there. The back is 10mm bolt, and this two front is 12mm. And to get to it, you have to take this bracket off, which is the belt for the supercharger. So you have to take it off so you can get to it. It's underneath this cover right here. I used the 1/4" drive socket and ratchet to get to it. And let me show you. Yep. See right here? That's it right here. And then in the back, you got this right here. That's two 10 millimeter bolt, and it have a gasket. So when you put it back together, make sure you either use gasket or RTV. And the knock sensor right there. Then you have this gasket right here. I'm gonna have to get it from Nissan, which is a low intake platinum gasket on both sides. Like I said, it took me about 3-4 hours to get it out, and it's not an easy job. So if you're not mechanically inclined, I don't suggest you do it. So this plate sits on top of the low platinum and the supercharger sits on top of it, just like that. So you take all those bolts out from the supercharger. So you take it apart. This is what it looks like. Like this. Then you got to disconnect the fuel rail with the injectors, and of course the injector got a rubber O-ring that goes around it to seal it. Like I said, if you're not mechanically inclined, I don't suggest you do it. So, you know, just remember what parts you took out and the vacuum hoses and all that stuff. So I'm gonna clean everything out, go to Nissan and try to get some gasket. Hopefully they have it, and put a new knock sensor on it. Yeah, it's, you know, Nissan. It's complicated to work on. So, well, good luck if you try to do this yourself.